So good to see all of you here. And we're here to learn about Tabs3, which is one of the GPSolo sponsors, and we appreciate their time and energy in coming forward today, as well as to tell us about their product, which is going to revolutionize the way we practice law, make it easier, and streamline our approach to everything from billing and timesheets to document management and all those wonderful things that we keep doing. And I've asked them specifically to work on issues about how, if we were to hire them, what the transition would be, what the transition looks like from whatever dark ages ways we're handling things in terms of our law practice, in terms of streamlining it to something modern, and what that transition process looks like. So without further ado, I've got Dan and Bruce from Tabs3, and the floor is yours. Thank you. And as always, we have a number of new names here or people I don't recognize completely. So whatever you're always welcome to interrupt the speaker. And if you're shy about that, you can put it in the chat. But whenever you do that, it's really helpful to know your area of practice and where you are in the country, so we can network with you either individually after the fact or what have you. But the idea is to create a roundtable discussion about these issues and not necessarily just give Dan and Bruce the floor to talk for an hour. So with that caveat, Dan and Bruce, it's all yours.
Great. Casey, thanks for the intro. Everybody, hello from the cultural center of the Midwest, Lincoln, Nebraska. I'm just joking. My wife's from Chicago. She would not be happy if I said that. Anyway, welcome. Thanks for the opportunity. A brief background on the company, and for myself, I'm the president and CEO of Tabs3 Software. Known in the industry as the Tabs3 guy. I've been doing this for 37 years. Been fortunate to be a sponsor and advertiser with the ABA and different divisions and sections of the ABA since the mid 80s. So I've always enjoyed all the opportunities and participations that we have. Really miss the on-site events, miss going to GPSolo spring and fall meetings and seeing a lot of you at the annual meeting. But for this, we're very excited about the opportunity to talk to you a little bit about Tabs3 Software. Again, we've been around a long time. The company started in '79. What's wonderful about the product is that it looks like it was written within the last year or two. Everything is very modern, and we plan to do a 10 to 15 minute presentation overview as we go through the product to show you high level of what the features look like and what the software looks like. And as Casey said, anytime there's a roundtable, so you have questions or anything like that, if you have a question, probably somebody else is thinking it, so it'll help benefit the entire group. And if you want to track questions as we go through the demo and handle them afterwards, we can always jump back in the product and show you that. So Tabs3 Software is billing and has an option to have fully integrated accounting, general ledger and accounts payable, equivalent of QuickBooks. Has full trust accounting. All your check writing capabilities are in the software. We also have a product we call Practice Master, which is all the practice management aspects, the things that you live in every day, the calendar, your contacts, your matters, documents, emails, all those things. We also, for people that are hardcore doc management people, we also have an integration with NetDocs for the cloud and World Docs for a desktop product. Tabs3 is a desktop product. We do have a lot of firms hosting it, which makes it virtually a cloud experience. We work with both Uptime and with ProCirrus. They're really focused on helping solo, small, mid-sized law firms that don't want to worry about on-premise software, and we can host it that way. A product that we also own that we're not going to be talking about today, this is strictly a Tabs3 focus, is a product called Cosmolex, which is a 100% cloud product that does billing and accounting and practice management as well. So with that in mind, I'm going to flip it over to Bruce. And Bruce, you want to introduce yourself and who you are at the company, and Bruce is gonna spend the next 10, 15 minutes doing a little walkthrough of the product.
Sure will. Yeah, I'm the client success manager here at Tabs3 Software. I've been with the company over 31 years and started out in technical support and have served a number of positions within the company that included being a systems trainer, support supervisor. I've also worked with the development team as a product manager. And in my current role, I manage the marketing, sales, and training departments. So been around the software a lot. It's been fun watching it grow and change over time with each new release of Windows and operating systems, and just changes in the legal community and the needs as they've changed as well. And so, as Dan said, although we've been around a long time, the product has changed and evolved a lot over those times as well. So I'm going to go ahead and get a screen share going to do a little bit of a demo. And hopefully we get this right. Like I said, I'm remoted in, have a couple different things going on. Let's see. Nope, we're not seeing that. We're seeing Outlook. Is that what we're seeing right now, Dan? Or are you seeing Tabs 3?
Looks like Outlook.
All right, let me do the share again.
Well, that was Outlook. Yep, I was muted. Sorry.
Let's go this way. Hopefully we should get it now.
There we go. That's Tabs 3 dashboard home screen.
Okay, that's what I wanted.
One thing before you jump in, Bruce, I want to point out is that our focus with our software has always been solo small practices. The average size firm we have using our software is about a 4 or 5 attorney firm, about 7 billable timekeepers. So we have thousands of solo and 2, 3 attorney practices using the software. And on the flip side, we do have firms that have grown to like 40, 50 attorneys using the software. And what Bruce is going to show you is the product that everybody gets the same product, but we have different levels of feature sets. And what Bruce is going to show you is what we call our platinum level. So we have a subscription with the software where people can just pay a monthly subscription on it. Just Tabs 3 is like $32 a month, and the entire product line's around $70 a month per user. But it comes with all the features that Bruce is going to talk about, including mobility features, ways to do things on your phone or your Mac even, or on a tablet, those types of things. So as we go through this and show you these things, all these features are part of what we have for like solo small firms at a very affordable subscription pricing level. Okay, Bruce.
Yeah, and as we've alluded to, the Tabs 3 software has the different pieces, the billing, which is what I'm on right now. And you can install and use just the billing, or you can at any time add on the financial piece, which could be just the trust accounting, or also our financials for general ledger to do your income statement, balance sheet, etc. And then practice management is additional thing that you can add on, but you can run them independently. All of them can be done independently, or once they're installed together, it's a tightly integrated system. And I am going to be showing the system together, but as you see, the focus right now is on the billing, but I do want to point out a couple of the things that are, universal, which is mainly this navigation on the left. No matter where we're at, whether we're in the practice management side or the billing, you have this, what we term the quick launch on the left. And it gives you a list of things that you've worked on recently, things that you can pin. And if you can't find something specific, you simply just start to type whatever it is. So if I just want to know something about fee, as soon as I start typing fee, I see everything about fees, whether that's fee entry or split billing or reordering my fees, anything about that I can drill right into. And then you do have total control over that. You can drag and drop things to move the order and change them if there's things you work with regularly. But we're going to focus or start just on our dashboard. Some key metrics that you can look at a glance as you start your day, getting a handle on what your current accounts receivable is, unbilled time, as we have here in our work in process section over to the top right. The lower left would be cash receipts, so money coming in, and we're doing a year-over-year comparison of those two numbers. And the same thing with the billing history, what you've been billing, again, a year-over-year comparison. And the nice thing about our software, no matter whether you're looking at a dashboard or you're looking at a report, as you're looking at any one of those items, you can hover over those and then get additional information. So you can see what actually makes up that particular time period. And you can actually click and drill into that and see, in this case, the matters that make up that particular 31 to 60 day AR period. And I can go further and I could drill into an individual matter and see the individual statements that make up that time period. So we can just continue to drill to get to the detail that we need at any time. And that, like I said, works no matter whether you're looking at unbilled time or billed time or cash receipts. You can hover and get the full details, or get into running the actual reports if you want the hard copies of that. So that's just a quick look at what you're doing on a daily basis as you come in, just to get a handle. But generally, as an attorney, you're going to be working in the matters or in the files throughout your day. And so as we bring up one of those matters, we have what we call our matter manager. And again, it's that quick overview of everything going on for that particular case. I got some of the basic demographics at the top, which I can actually expand to get more information about that matter. But in this case, I'm going to keep it kind of collapsed and just focus on the key areas up there, which are phone numbers, which I can click on if I have the software set up to dial, or the email address. I can click on that and it'll initiate an email to that contact, or I can add notes right from here. But again, now I'm drilled down to just an individual matter. So I'm looking at that individual's accounts receivable balance, their unbilled time, and in this case, they do have a trust balance. So if I have money on hand, whether that's a trust or we also manage client funds, depending on whether that's refundable retainers or non-refundable retainers, you can handle them a couple different ways. You also have then some last activity when you talk about AR. When's the last time I got a payment on this account? And again, I can drill onto that if I want to see that payment. Same with the unbilled time. Here's the last time I billed out this case, the last statement, and I can focus on my fees or just my costs, and then my trust activity. Below that, I have a list of the recent activity in chronological order. This is kind of combining everything you see over here to the right. So my fees, my costs, my payments are all intertwined as to what's been going on this particular file. But I can narrow in or zero in on any one of these items and just look at my statements for this individual, or things that I've had to write off. And if I did have to write off, I can drill down into that record and see more information about that particular write-off, exactly what was written off, and if there's fees involved, which timekeeper's time was written off and how much was written off, as well as a look at things like the client funds or the trust balances. And again, we're seeing that activity in a chronological order of what's been going on in that account, deposits, checks, etc. So real quick way to just get everything you need to know about an individual matter. So if they call you up or you're calling them, you have it all available. And anytime you can drill into the actual detail of the matter by going into editing the full matter record. But a lot of what you need to do is also available here through our take action area. So if you want to add new fees, add a payment, whatever it might be, generate a statement. In this case, we will talk about the ability to email a statement out. So if you want to email a statement, you can certainly do that right from here as well. And then there's some other actions, as well as what we have is the ability to generate those reports. So some of the things we're looking at, if we want to actually see the actual report, we just click on that and it'll generate that for us as well if we want to see the full detail of that. Any questions about the Tabs3 Matter Manager in particular? Yeah, I haven't talked about Tabs3, but as Dan said, we've been around a while. So as far as the billing's concerned, we can do obviously various rates. We have a lot of flexibility, basically unlimited number of rates that you can set up depending on your structure, but we do flat fee billing, contingency billing. We can do split billing. We also have the ability to do electronic billing through what we term task bill. So you can file your bills electronically with different generally services or insurance providers. A lot of flexibility in what you're doing on the billing side, but you set that up with the client and then it's just being done for you. We have batch billing, individual billing that can be done. So let's take a look, for instance, maybe in the statement side of things. If I go to our statement manager, here we're getting a list of all the recent statements we've generated. And the system knows whether that individual matter is supposed to receive a printed statement or an emailed statement. And I do those all in one batch. So if it's the 5th of the month and that's when I bill, I just run my bills on that date, and some get printed, some are prepped and ready to be emailed. When you do email the statements, we do have tie-ins to a couple different payment processors. We work with LawPay and ProPay to do credit card processing. And when you're using those services, you can include links. And I'm going to bring in my Outlook now that I had up earlier to show you if a bill was generated. In this case, I had a bill that was sent out, and let's just make that a little bit larger so we can see. A PDF of the statement was attached, and what it does is it has the ability to include a link to do an online payment. So the end user receives the email, they simply click on that link. In this case, I've got the LawPay integration tied into my system today, and it brings up a secure payment portal for that matter, in which I can put in a payment. Now the user has control over this. When they put in the payment, they can save it so that they have it available for the next time they make a payment, but they manage the payments themselves. They can add a new payment method, and then they simply select the amount to pay, which defaults to their current balance due, and they submit that payment. Once they submit that payment and they go back into the billing, you'll see that we have a listing over here, a little count that shows you the online payments that were made today. So I've got 7 pending payments. I can click on that in my quick launch. I'll get a list of those payments, and I can just simply import them into the system in one step. So whatever point during the day I want to bring in all my payments, I can do that. And then it automatically applies to their AR. We have rules that you can set up that determine how those payments are applied. If you also have any types of rules set up as far as distribution of money to the originating timekeepers, primary timekeepers take a certain percentage, you can set all those rules, and that flows right into our financials, our general ledger as well. So in one step, that's all done by just importing that, and behind the scenes that all has occurred for you. And everything, including that dashboard, is going to be updated as far as what your AR, that will drop. Payment cash receipts will be recorded, and those charts will be updated immediately just by performing that action. But beyond the basics billing, we have quite a bit of reporting. Again, it's one of those things that's it's something that you customize to what you need to work with, and you can create your own list of things that you work with on a regular basis called My Actions, or through these links on the left, just to work on the items that you do on a regular basis. But on the reporting side of things, again, it's got all the basic reports, but it has a lot of advanced reports, but none of them are required. You just choose exactly what you need on the reporting side of things. But we have management-based reports that'll get you into things like your receipt allocation, your client realizations, timekeeper realizations, reporting on your client funds or budget information. And of course, because we're very specific to the legal market, we have the ability to write up and write down things to adjust them. Unfortunately, we do have the ability to write off things, so that does have to happen. So it's a great feature. We can write off, and you can report on all those write-offs in the system. And again, all those types of things flow into our financials. Now, we do integrate with QuickBooks, and you can set it up to just do that for your financials. But if you're using our financials, it's taken to just another level of detail when you do things like the write-offs and write-ups and write-downs, especially if it happens after the fact. And then we also have the ability, which is not shown here, is to reverse those items. So if something was done in mistake, you simply reverse that write-off, and it's taken back out of your financials, put back in as a billable item, and back into your AR. Also on a reporting side, when we start talking about some of our reports, we can get into the what I call the productivity. Of course, you might want to see analysis reports or just plain client productivity reports. So it's, again, what level do you want to see it? Do you want to see it by timekeeper, by category by timekeeper? A lot of flexibility, but none of that's required. You simply choose what you need to see. A lot of these things can be done simply monthly. The other thing we have is a report suite in our system, and the report suite lets you set up the reports that you want to run, and on a particular day you can say run my monthly reports, and 5 different reports will automatically be generated for you because those are the ones you've set up and produced, and you can move on without any regular interaction on your part.
When you look at all these different reports, keep in mind that you don't have to do anything for to put anything into them. The system automatically creates them, And especially with a solo small firm practice, there's probably a lot of reports you may never look at, but there are some out there that you maybe haven't thought of. And you can look and see what your effective billing rate is after you've been paid based on any write-ups or write-downs or things like that that you've done for a particular matter. Or if you do more than one area of practice, that's what we call categories area of practice. If you do like 2 or 3 different types of law, you can see which type of law gives you the best result for yourself or for your practice. And also the other reports is if you have a temporary that comes in that works for you and you can track their time, or if you have an associate or another partner, it's very easy to just generate the reports. And all this is created based on just putting in your fees. We just track everything that way. So you put in fees, you have payments are put into the system. All these reports are derived from that because we know the matter, we know the area of practice, we know who did the time, the work, and everything else. So it makes it real easy for you to, once a month, print out 3 or 4 different reports and just see how things are going for you. And if you have another partner or an associate or some temp help, you can see how they did and how they helped you out as well.
Yep. One area I really didn't touch on is we do have an area specifically dedicated to collections. So, besides just the simple ARs, we also have collections reports, so you can see a lot of information. So if you do need to make phone calls, you have it all available to you in one screen. So you see the full history of what's been billed, what's been paid, when their last payments were, what those amounts were. So you can have an intelligent conversation and follow up and hopefully get paid by that credit card right over the phone and move forward. But I am going to move on to the practice management side of the integrated suite and just click onto what we call a practice master icon here in the lower left. You can have it loaded as a separate app. You can alt tab over to it. You can use the little jumps down here below to move between the products. But as you move, hopefully you see that left panel is kind of persistent. Again, we're seeing those recent matters and different things I'm doing in Practice Master. The dashboard here gives me a little bit different view though. On the practice management side of things, it's looking at things that I have going on, things that I have scheduled for today, tasks that I have to complete either today or upcoming in the next week or do later. And because it's tied in with the billing, it has that shared information of billing available. So I don't necessarily have to even leave Practice Master to do a lot of my daily work with the billing. I am seeing the hours that I've in for the week. And again, I can hover and drill into those to see those transactions, but give me an idea of what I've been doing and seeing, oh, I only had 3.5 hours yesterday. Maybe I missed some time. I need to put that back in so I can go back into that date and add that information after the fact. But Practice Master, once you get into things like the matter, have a different look at information. But we do, again, share that view of, say, for instance, looking at the billing for the Michael Larson matter. We're seeing, again, how much they have due, any trust information. But you have different views in Practice Master than you have in your billing. And when I get into what we term the all activity view, it's kind of like what we saw at the end of the billing. It's combining everything that we have, which is fees, statements. It's including not just the billing plus information, but also it's adding in your emails, your documents, all your research, your notes. And again, I can isolate into any one of those particular areas. So I could just see the documents tied to this particular case. Now we do have a document management system built right into the Practice Master system. But again, we do have, if you're into the more robust of systems like World Docs or NetDocs, we do have integrations with both of those. But we have 3 different levels of that integration, and one built in automatically that does a great job of managing those documents that includes versioning as well as checking in, checking out if you want to do that. But at a minimum, keeps them organized by matter. And that's really the difference when you talk about Practice Master versus something like Outlook, where Outlook is going to be specific to your email address. Practice Master is matter centric. It's going to show you everything and group it by that. So we do have a tight integration with Outlook. So I'm going to bring the Outlook system back up just to show you. Got to get the right one here. Get the Outlook system back up. What we do is we have the ability to put in add-ins or plugins to the Microsoft products as well as Adobe products. A lot of different products have this capability. Even if you're still a WordPerfect user, you can do that. But what happens when you do that is in the ribbon, we add a Practice Master toolbar. And that gives you the ability then to, while you're in Outlook, to actually create fee entries for these items that you're looking at, to create calendar records as follows up or scheduling meetings or appointments, and also to do what we call journaling. And that's probably the most powerful feature. The journaling takes a copy of that email and places it into Practice Master. So it's now part of that case record. And that's what we're looking at in that Matter Manager is we have the ability to see those emails that came from Outlook. When you do journal it, the nice thing about that is once it's in Practice Master, it's available for all reporting. It's available for any document assembly we're doing. It's also available for others in the firm. So it's not just in your inbox. It's shared, it's available, it's here. And then extending that, as Dan alluded to, we have mobile options. It's called Tabs3 Connect. That's going to give you access to that information any place you have internet access, which is going to be, either through a phone, through a laptop at home. You can do it through another desktop. I'm going to bring up.
Hey, Bruce, there was a question about being able to enter in due dates and print or view the status of open files based on specific due dates.
So, yeah, you can definitely I guess I can get back into the calendaring.
Yeah, I didn't want to ruin your
That's
flow,
fine.
but as you get into that, that would be something that one of the folks have asked about, which makes really good sense because that's a key element of due dates and not missing them. And we can talk about how that's handled in the calendar.
Okay. Yeah, I don't know my connection. I must close that down, but you just simply get into any place that has internet access and you go to what we call Tabs3 Connect. And Tabs3 Connect is basically you have an email address set up specific to you and your firm. And put in your password the first time, get it in here, get logged in. And this is the mobile interface that gives you access to your clients, your contacts, your calendar, the ability to work with and add fees, costs, and also that Matter Manager that we were just looking at in Practice Master. So in the mobile view, again, I'm looking at one of my cases and I have access again to all that activity, whether it's just looking specifically at my billing information, my calendars, my contacts, my documents, my fees, or the combined activity summary, which I'm looking at here. The Tabs3 Connect also has the ability to do timed activities. So we have a timer at the top that you can start at any point and time that activity. And when you're ready, click on that, link it up to a matter and bill out that time right off your phone.
Which is a great opportunity if you get a phone call or you're going to call out a client and you're not in the office and you have Tabs3 Connect, you just start the timer, you do your phone call. When you finish, you can create your fee record and it goes right into the billing system based on the duration of time of your call.
Yep. Now we were kind of getting towards the calendaring piece of things. Also through here, you get full access to your calendar. And because we integrate with Outlook, you can integrate all of your calendar items with Outlook, which in turn is available here or on your Outlook mobile app or an Outlook on your desktop PC. And all that's going to be synced up and share that same information. The difference is here, I'm looking at a calendar for different combinations. I can look at myself. Actually, for this demo, it was logged in as Ron, but I'm also looking at everybody else's calendar for the week. I can look for the day or the month, and I can then also limit it to just a particular group of people in any individual or combination of those in the office and look at other calendars. And when I'm doing that, I'm seeing not just everything for the week. I can also go into looking at just the calendar records for any one of my matters. So again, that's the difference, is that I do have that matter specific view in here that I can say, okay, here's things that I have going on for Shelby Potter. And I could see upcoming events, any meetings, et cetera. If I'm talking to that individual, I'll know what's going on, what's scheduled, and what's been done recently. So as you're working in our calendar, I guess I can go into the calendar area. We have quite a bit of capabilities there. Straight up calendar, as I said, integrates directly with Outlook. So as you're putting in a new calendar record, you know, and assigning particular due dates. We have different types of codes that we can put in just to kind of speed up some of your data entry. But I'm going to just pick one here. I'll just take appointment with, and you can add your own comments and schedule that. And as soon as you do that, it's automatically synced to Outlook. It's automatically in Connect and available in any other reporting or listings that we have inside the system. Now that's just doing an individual calendar record. We also have the ability to do groups of calendar records through what we call calendar plans. And we also have integrations with a product called Calendar Rules that is a little more specific, especially in the state of California. You know, a lot of the different federal, local rules, et cetera, are very, very comprehensive. And anytime you're doing certain types of litigation, whatever it might be, you simply pick up a plan that they have anytime, say, an actual court filing occurs, and it'll generate all the appropriate dates for you automatically in the system, sync those over to Outlook. And then if there's any changes to the rules, you're notified and those are automatically updated, et cetera. But it's all tied together. So as you're putting in new calendar records, you can put them in and link them together so that if you change something like a key date, like that trial date, it can automatically adjust everything if that trial date changes. We also have the ability to do recurring dates. So as you put in things, you can put in your own set of recurring dates based off of simple rules, like I need it to be every week on Monday at a certain time. This is what I'm going to do. You set it up for how long you want that to happen, hit OK, and all those entries are put in your system. So if you want to set aside time every Monday morning to make sure your time entries are up to date, put that in the system, and it's going to block that out for you right away. Or if there's a regular meeting that you do just with the staff, you can put that in as well. But a lot of flexibility in all of the calendaring and reporting inside of Practice Master.
And Bruce, what's great also is that you can generate a report at any time for a matter to give you a status of things that have been completed, calendars that are coming up, due dates that are coming up, and where you're at in the status of all those.
Right.
And then
as you know, as I was looking at you know, just something as simple as my dashboard, my to-dos, if I do finish something, it's simply check it and it'll mark that as complete. I'm just confirming that, yes, I marked as complete, it's gone. It's in my system historically, but it's taken off my list because it's been completed. And I can do that with anything else. This is one of those examples of some of the things I have set out here for some of my calendar rules items that are taking place. And as I hover, I get the more detail about it. And anytime, just check it off and say that's been complete and move on to the next item, or drill into it to open it up to make any additional notes or changes. But as Dan said, we can get a matter specific view of calendar items by themselves. Pretty easy, whether you want to look at it on screen or look at it as a report. And Practice Master goes beyond that basic billing information, and it has area practice specific information. So what that means is, depending on the type of law you practice, I'm not going to schedule that, you have full flexibility to set up the system to include the fields that you want, the order you want them to appear, where you want them to appear. And in what we term our file maintenance, I'll just give you a look at it. By default, you have access to, and you choose what you'd want to start with, different types of areas of practice. And if you're, you do family law, these are the types of files that we have in the system. But again, you can add new files, modify these files, take away files, so that all this information's in the system. And you basically want to mirror anything you would do on paper and eliminate that paper. The hope is to be as paperless as you can by putting that information into Practice Master so it's available for you at any time, again, mobily, or as the phone rings, that you can pick it up and see exactly what you have going on for a particular case. And once that information's in there, what are you doing with it? One of the more powerful features is our document management and also document assembly. We have a direct integration with Word for document assembly. We also integrate with HotDocs if you choose to use that product for document assembly. And simple things, we also have the ability to do what we call workflows, things that can happen automatically. Some of those are user initiated, like I have some workflows here where I can generate something like a fee agreement. I could also start a new client letter. I can have other things happen to where it automatically happens behind the scenes. As soon as I add a new case, and that case is a specific type, let's say it's workers' comp, the system can automatically create a list of calendars for me that I've told it needs to be done as soon as I hit save. Or if a trial date is filled in, then again, new dates are added automatically and to-dos are added automatically for me. For a user-initiated one, I'll just give you an example of what an assembly might look like. It's loading up Word. You'll see it in the background. In this case, it's an interactive one because it wants to know whether I'm hourly or flat fee. We'll just go to the hourly. It's going to ask what that hourly rate's going to be. So I'll put in a number. It in turn it's assembled in the background. Oh, it's on my other screen, unfortunately. Sorry about that. I'll bring that over. But in addition to assembling that document, it has the ability then to create what we call ticklers. So in this case, it's automatically wanting me to create a calendar record to confirm the receipt and return of that fee agreement. And I could also, there it is, create a document management record so that I have information on that document, have it stored in my system so I have it for future reference. And we wouldn't in this case, but you also have the ability to say bill for generating that document. If it wasn't a fee agreement, if it's a legal document that I'm going to bill for, it can automatically bill a flat amount or based off your time, bill that out. But in the background, it's automatically assembled, filled in all the blanks, known whether it's been, like I said, hourly, flat fee. Here we got the hourly rate that we're quoting. But again, you take your existing documents. We have that basically practice master toolbar that's put inside of Word. It's very simple to work with it to add pieces, basically variables, inside of your existing document to fill in the blanks based off of what you're assembling. And one of the more cool features of that is if it asks for something that doesn't exist yet, like if it didn't know the rate and I wanted that in my client record, it can write it back to the actual client file at the same time it's being assembled and ask for during the assembly. So
Hey, Bruce, I'm going
to go ahead.
Go ahead. I'm sorry. I was going to jump in on a few questions when you finish this about the document.
I think that's where I was at. Kind of done with that.
There was a couple particular questions. One was about, probably patent trademark law and docketing. And we want to make sure that you understand that the calendar feature within Practice Master is a full-fledged calendar docket control system. You can put in dates and reminders out years and years down the road. I have a really good friend. Is actually our second user is a firm in Chicago, Marvin Ben, who's an IP attorney that has used our software since 1984 for calendaring and docket control for his IP practice. So yes, it does have that. We manage all that very well, and you can do all kinds of calendar reporting based on due dates, based on matters, based on areas of practice, and you can even define it based on specific trademarks or patents that you have out there to track that. There was also another question, Bruce, before we get too far out of time to talk about trust accounting and the trust system in Tabs3. One thing about our trust accounting system before Bruce pulls it up to take a look at it is that it can run as a standalone. We have a lot of firms using just the trust accounting system itself to handle everything that you need to do. We handle all the specific criteria for certain states that are very specific, like Florida or Washington. We're actually a member benefit for the State Bar of Florida for trust accounting. So when attorneys get their hands slapped for mismanagement of trust funds, if they don't have a specific trust accounting system, they're highly recommended to start using the trust accounting system from Tabs3 Software to manage their funds. We Tabs3 and Trust were ABA approved back when there used to be an approval process through the Law Technology Resource Center back in the mid 80s into the mid 90s. There's actually an approval process, and Tabs3 and Trust were the first two billing and trust accounting systems ever to be approved by the American Bar Association for use in solo small practices. So the trust system that we have meets all the criteria for what you need to do in your firm to properly manage And if you need to do reporting for the courts, we have all the reporting that is required for courts to make sure that you're properly managing the funds and the trust funds that you're having for your clients as well as your firm's trust account. So Bruce?
Yeah, I mean, talk about the reporting. I mean, obviously, a trust ledger is important because you're seeing, the money in, money out, complete history listing of what's going on. We have check registers, and we also have, of course, specific check entry information, trust transaction entries, the bank account information. And when you talk about the bank accounts, we have the ability to reconcile, and we do actually a three-way reconciliation, which is really important for trust, which is going to reconcile the bank statement to the bank account information to the actual trust ledger and make sure that all three balance and show that same information inside of your trust accounting system. And as Dan said, it can be standalone. So it has all those capabilities. Becomes even more powerful when it's tied into the billing because the two share that same client information. And as you put money into the trust account, of course, you can see it in the billing system. And the billing system can automatically draw information from the trust or pull payments from the trust. If you set it up, as soon as you're doing generating a bill, there's a balance due. The system can automatically pull money from the trust to pay that. It'll show up on the invoice itself or on the statement. And when you show that history, you can also then show activity on the Tabs3 billing statement that shows your mini trust ledger. What's happened since the last time I billed you. Here's the deposit you made. Here's the money we pulled out to pay your last invoice. Here's your current balance in your trust. If it's an evergreen trust and you need to replenish it, that'll show up on that as well, showing what you owe, not only for that current bill, hopefully it's paid off with your trust balance, but any amount you might have to remit to replenish that trust account. Over here, just seeing my current trust transactions, which again can take place automatically, or you can go in and do the actual checks. So if you're managing money outside of the billing system, you can write checks to third parties. We do have 1099 reporting at the end of the year as well, built into the trust accounting system to generate those 1099s, either filing them electronically, printing them out, whichever you so choose. When you are working with your bank transactions, we do have the ability to import those transactions, and of course, not only reconcile the bank account, but then do the three-way reconciliation we talked about. Our credit cards do flow into trust. We do allow you to receive credit card payments that are deposited into the trust accounting system that are managed separately from the operating system account. So it handles all of that properly and stays in compliance, but it has that capability as well. And then we also have a feature called Positive Pay. This is something that's offered by several banks that allow you to make sure that it's kind of a fraud protection. You provide a list of transactions to the bank, and they only will authorize payments that are matching that report to come back out of those trust funds to make sure that that's occurring. But it's usually an extra service you can deal with the bank specifically. But any other trust specific questions or others? I can certainly go back because that's kind of the end of the demo part of what I was going to do. I really didn't get into the financials. The general ledger has a full legal balance sheet, chart of accounts, does your income statement as well, and full financial reporting there. And also accounts payable, we have the ability to do your check writing for the firm, paying your bills, all tied into the system. And again, as it's integrated, the power comes with the ability to put in something that's something like a filing fee. And when that filing fee is set up to be paid, it automatically is including an advance item on that client's bill for you. And you can also watch to make sure that that item has been paid before you cut the check. So as you're in accounts payable, you can check if that billing item has been received from the client, so you've been paid for that, so that you can actually do the filing fee. So it won't print the check until the money's been received because of the tie-ins. And that of course would flow into our general ledger, so you can track your client cost advances at the end of the year, get proper reporting on that, and balance your advances for the end of the year as well.
Great. Any questions on trust? I know Miriam, you wanted us to make sure we covered that. All right, thumbs up.
And at the very beginning, Casey brought up the fact that, what it takes to transition to something, depending on whether you're going from a manual system or another billing system. We have the ability to either convert that data, and it depends on the product. Again, some things we have some automatic conversions. Other ones, it depends on how detailed you want to get. Bringing over your basic information is where we start. Bringing over your clients, your unbilled costs, your AR, etc. And then if you want to take it to another level and get full history of all your previous statements, etc., that can be done as well, but it can be done at different levels. So it's really a conversation we need to have and see what you're coming from and what level of detail that you want. But as Dan said, we can get you started as low as $32 a month on the billing with our subscription costs, and gives you full access to all the things you saw there. And then of course you can add on the practice management or financials at any point, and all that information is automatically available and shared without any additional conversion or setup. As we started at the beginning, saying this is an on-premise solution, but it does have the Tabs3 Connect, which is the mobile access for that. We do have options to go with hosting though as well. If you're not familiar with hosting, really it's something, as I talk about, when people talk about cloud computing, I talked to Dan about this. We've talked about it before, that people always ask about cloud, and I said, there's really no such thing as the cloud. It's really just somebody else's computer. It's just somebody else's server, whether that's the actual hosting company that's a SaaS product, or whether it's Microsoft Azure, or whether it's Rackspace, or whether it's an independent ProService or Uptime Legal. And all you're really doing is putting your files on that system. And the bigger question comes into not just, am I getting a web-based billing system? Is it everything, or is it just billing? What's happening with your Adobe Acrobat? What's happening with your word processor? What are you doing with your phone system? Who's managing your printers? Are you doing that locally? So there's a lot that gets involved with talking about cloud, and taking a firm completely to the cloud. Is there's a lot of things that you have to consider besides an individual application like your billing. And there's a lot of advantages to that, but you can do that pretty simply right now with a remote desktop connection. But that's requiring you to have some dedicated server. But the nice thing about our products, our on-prem service, is that ours can be ran on a simple machine. It can be ran on a laptop or an individual desktop. You don't have to have a Microsoft SQL service or certification or that type of technology to run our system. It can be done in a peer-to-peer environment, just put on somebody's machine and shared. Because of the technology we use, it's very simple and can be done by the individual, or if they have any questions, obviously we have technical support available. And as Dan said, we have a lot of great videos. We have a knowledge base that's available 24/7 with, I don't even know how many thousands of articles that we have on providing you assistance and technology, but we've been doing it for a number of years. So we've been building those databases of libraries and articles for quite some time. Very exciting.
And one of the things Casey mentioned at the very beginning was about, transferring over to a different type of product. And, it's always a little painful because there's effort involved and there's a learning curve involved. But again, having done this for well over 100,000 attorneys over the course of my career, and we currently have about 70,000+ people logging into the software every day. We've gotten very proficient in our training. We do group training, we do individual training. We work with moving data into the new product, and again, we're a little different. When you look at some of the products that are out there, there's older products some of you may or may not have used, like time slips or PC Law. Some of the newer cloud products that have been around the last 5-7 years. And I say newer because I'm 61 and I've been doing this 37 years. So 6-7 years is new to me. Like Clio or Rocket Matter or MyCase. Somebody mentioned Cosmolex. We actually own Cosmolex. They're a division of our company. So if you want 100% cloud, they're a great option. They have probably the best billing and accounting integration feature set that's out there. But one thing with Tabs3, we have our own accounting, or we can integrate with QuickBooks. And there's a lot of solos where your accountant says, you're going to keep using QuickBooks because I'm the one doing your bookkeeping. That's perfectly fine. Tabs3 does have an integration with QuickBooks. But there are a lot of benefits to have a fully integrated accounting system with your billing program. A great example, and I mentioned this to KC, is that you have to write a filing fee in advance on behalf of one of your clients. So you do a filing fee. In Tabs3, you do that filing fee and you state who the client is. Everything else is done. Your general ledger entry is done for your GL, and a fee entry, excuse me, an advance entry is created for that matter in the billing system for the amount of that filing fee. And all you have to do is just go into the system to write the check for it and say who it's for, and everything else is taken care of. We really try to simplify the process. And that's the benefit of being around for 40 plus years, is that we give feedback every day. We handle a couple hundred support calls every day from the thousands of clients that we have. And a good majority of those support calls give us ideas on how to make the product better. So our whole thing is to make the interface and you working, we call it the UX, it's the user experience of this, as simple as possible, because you don't want to have to spend your time figuring out how to do things in software. You want to spend your time working for your clients. And we just want to be a mechanism or a vehicle for you to track your time, get your bills out, collect the payments, get all the financial stuff that you need. And then with Practice Master is where a lot of our attorneys live, because that's your calendar, that's your email, that's your phone call tracking. It's where you do your research and track that. And all the different things that Bruce talked about at a very high level help makes practicing easier by having all this readily available to you. And one thing we didn't even touch base on is conflict checking. Rather than looking through files or trying to figure out contacts, when you go into Practice Master and you do a conflict check, we check all your documents, all your descriptions and your fees and your costs. We check every note, every phone call, every description, every email that's attached to any matter. And we will let you know if there's a conflict that comes up. It'll come up on the screen, and Bruce is showing you real quickly, and then you can drill down and see if it is a true conflict or it's just something else. So, and our conflict check is something that we've designed internally. It takes seconds. We have 30 attorney firms with, thousands and thousands of matters that are active, and their conflict check literally takes less than 5 seconds because it's all indexed and all tracked within the system. Great questions going out there. Does anybody else have any questions? I know we're about at the end of our time here.
I just wanted to thank Dan and Bruce for their time today and for the demonstration, and thank everybody for their attention. I've got to run to another meeting, but you're all welcome to stay on as long as you'd like, and bend Dan and Bruce ears as long as they want to be bent. So I wish you all a great rest of the day, and thanks again to Bruce and Dan, and see you all next week at our next roundtable. Thanks very much. Take care all.
Thanks, Casey.
Thanks, Casey.
Thank you. All right, I don't see any outstanding questions. So if anybody has anything, feel free to unmute and jump on, or if there's anything you'd like to see or discuss. There was one question about cloud, and we do own a business called Cosmolex. Cosmolex is a 100% cloud product. They've been around about 7-8 years. They have 3,000 to 4,000 firms using the software. Somebody also asked about pricing. Cosmolex is $79 per user a month. Tabs3 subscription for everything that you saw is $72 per user per month. So that kind of puts it in play, and it's very competitive pricing. I don't want to sit here and talk about pricing on this particular call, but any other product you see out there, very similar.
How do you distinguish Cosmolex from Tabs3?
Well,
go ahead, Bruce.
Well, the biggest thing is it is a true web-based system. So if you don't have and don't want to deal with an on-premise system, because it's very similar in what we're doing, and in that it's an all-inclusive, includes your accounting as well as your billing, then it usually just comes down to that type of infrastructure. Do you want to deal with that, or would you rather just have it completely hosted right from the beginning by that company?
Thank you.
The features are a little different. One thing I will tell you about Tabs3 and Practice Master is that we have a more robust, detailed feature set than any cloud product that's out there, just because we've been around for so long and we've been getting feedback and dealing with attorneys as clients for 40+ years. So for example, you talk about, let's say you do some insurance defense work and the different formats that you need to provide to those insurance companies. We have all those that have been out there for 15 to 20 years since electronic billing has been in place. You talk about split fee billing, it might be a check mark on the list of what you need to do, but we again have been doing split fee billing for over 20 years, and we can very rarely ever find any situation where we can't handle what's required by that insurance company, or for a class action case or anything you're working with where we can't do split fee billing at the level you need. Same thing with when Bruce originally talked about timekeeping and everything. We have personal injury firms that do nothing but contingency work, and we give you options whether you're billing your out of cost or your expenses or not, or how you want to do that. And then you get your settlement amount and you plug that in, and then you know exactly what the settlement is, you know what the firm got, and then if you decide to do it, you can track the amount of time you spent working on that contingency case, and we'll give you, good or bad, what your effective billing rate would have been based on your hourly rate. And I've known clients of ours that have done that and found, wow, there's certain types of cases, my effective billing rate's like $50 an hour, the amount of time I spend on these. And others, my effective billing rate would be like $400 an hour. So when you look at certain types of case, it may be the way you promote or market your firm for certain types of things. Same thing with whether you do family law, whether you do wills and trust, anything, we track all that. And it just makes it real easy to see how productive you are. And if you add on an attorney or you have an associate, it's a good way to track and see how they're really doing for you as well.
Thank you.
Yep. Any other questions? We do have ways to try this out for free. So it's very simple, tabs3.com or cosmolex.com. And you can go out and try it out. We have videos, all sorts of things, just to see if it's a way to look and check it to see if it's a good option for your practice.
I have a question. You may have already covered this, but is there a way to import information from a practice management company that I already have into yours if I switched?
Yeah, there's a couple different options. Practice Master does have a direct import, but I probably would want to talk to our conversion team to bring in that information. So there's definitely a couple different ways to do that. And if you go with a full conversion, all your matters and hopefully all the records that you have and types would come over. It's something we do on a regular basis and have done for a lot of different products. So.
And it depends, Christy. We also have a channel of industry consultants all around the United States, and some of them do those services too, because they've worked with our clients for so many years and they know our product really well, where they're able to take whatever product you have, export the data, and then import it in through Practice Master. And from there, we can take the matter information and populate that into the billing system too. And if you end up looking at a cloud product like Cosmolex, they have a full migration team that does this on a daily basis as well.
Okay, thank you.
I'm going to run, but I really want to thank you for a very thorough and great presentation.
Thank you, Miriam. I appreciate your questions as well.
Thanks.
All right.
We want to thank Tabs3 for their support of the division. They've been a great longtime sponsor and great product. Thank you.
And Steve, I appreciate you letting me be a sponsor and dealing with me all the times you see me throughout the year.
Hope we can see you again soon in person.
Yes. It really helps. And for me personally, I really enjoy it. I'm on the ABA Tech Show board. I'm on the Legal Tech board. I'm on the ALA Business Partner board. We try to be a lot more than just a software development company. every new employee we have come here, everybody, I sit down and explain to them that we're a service company that happens to make software. It's really about doing the best that we can do for our clients. A couple things about us to end the conversation. The average firm that has been using our software has been with us over 17 years. So we are not about making sales. We're about getting clients, helping them in their practice. And we want them to be clients for many, many, many years to come. And so we've had our average clients have been with us 17 years, which is probably twice as long as any cloud company's been in existence. So we have people that come in and it's all about support and service. We do annual surveys to get feedback from our clients, and our support team generally gets a 96 to 97% satisfaction rating. And I'm saying that just because I'm really proud of how we approach service with what we do. And as you can see from the software, it doesn't look like it was designed in the 80s. It's very current. We come out with new features on a quarterly basis and full new releases every year. And what we're showing you is version 2021. So very excited about the opportunity. Steve, love being a sponsor of the division, and I'm also a member of the division. So I really like it all. And thank you so much for your time, everybody.